Okay, so today I feel like doing a bit of loose watercolor painting with a simple landscape. I hope it's simple, we'll see how we go as we start painting. But what I've done a bit differently this time is that I've actually blue tacked a bit of the paper down to the board. So I've got a plastic board here, and I'm not sure what you probably call it. I think for us it's just blue tack, but any type of, that sort of adhesive that you stick onto the back of posters essentially. To stick them up on the walls. I just thought I'd try that out for this tutorial. I've been using a lot of, I normally use masking tape, but this is just something different. Might work, might not. So anyway, I've got the reference picture up here on the screen, and I'm going to refer to this very generally. And let's go ahead and pop in a bit of this background first. So I want to actually get in a fair bit of the sky. I'm going to start the horizon line just around here. Just a loose sketch. That's the main thing I probably want to emphasize in this. And we've got a bit of kind of mountain there, maybe another one coming over here like that. A lot of this stuff here is just it's really just a lot of these sort of rows. Then we've got another main row sort of coming down here into the foreground, and a few of these rows just sort of branching out towards the back. We've got some trees and things over here like that. I think I'm going to leave that for now and actually go back into it later when and I actually put all the detail in with the brush. This is a very simple drawing. It's barely anything here. Main thing is just getting that horizon line in. So I've got myself a bit of water here, just a tub of water, and I'm going to have a look to see what we're going to use. So what I'll do is just switch this around because I've got the palette facing the wrong way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start off by doing the sky. Okay, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of orange first on the palette. So I've just got some pyrrole orange here. It's quite a strong color. Okay, I do want to get in a sort of sunset-like effect. There's a little bit of red here, kind of like a pinkish red, that I'm going to mix in a little bit there. Another thing I might do is just add a teeny bit of gouache, white gouache into this section. So hopefully that will just make it a bit more misty in the background. Give that sky a slightly more opaque look. So just drop that in like that. Let's have a look and see how we go. So yeah, that's not bad. And just essentially going to go around this whole area, up into the sky even, like that. Probably a little bit more orange in here as well. And we can also add some more red, sort of vary this up a little. Normally I don't put gouache into these sky washes, but I just wanted to give this one a try, see how it ends up looking. So there we go. We're just gonna drop in some of that color like that. So we've kind of got a reddish looking sky, and we've got areas of mountains and things here as well, which I'm just going to leave out for the time being. And what I'll do just for this top section, I think I'll drop in a little bit of a bluish color. So I'm going to get some cobalt blue, mix that in with the orange like that, put some more water onto the palette, a bit more of that blue and a bit of cerulean blue as well. Just want that granulation kind of effect going on, and maybe a little bit of that gouache inside, a little bit of white gouache like that. And I'm going to see if I can pop in a sort of cloud shape like that, just coming in from the side. Dry off the brush a little bit, it was a bit too much like that. Okay, so Just going to drop that in there for that sort of cloud shape. And over on this side, I think I'll also do a similar sort of thing, like that. Okay, just so we have this larger cloud shape coming in around the sides and sort of leaving some bits of the orange in as well. It's just really crucial to have some of that. Okay, now here we have a little section here of the mountains, and I'm going to go grab myself a bit of this blue, this cobalt blue, and you know, we can mix in a bit of red in here too, just to get it to go more sort of purpley. Red, more red. There we go, just a bit more purpley sort of colour. And I'm just going to drop this area in here while this area of the sky is still slightly sort of wet around the edges, like that, so we have some kind of cooler colour mixing into the sky. And if you feel like it's not melting in properly, just give it a bit of a spray. Encourage it to move around a bit, like that. Okay. Just in the background, that sort of nice soft feeling in the distance. And I'm going to mix up a little bit more, just a little bit more kind of purplish colour, and just drop some more into the sky, like this. Just to get another larger cloud shape in there. A smaller calligraphy brush, I'm just going to try this out on the edges here, where it kind of touches the sky, just to sharpen that line a bit more, like that, but that's way too much. Let me just soften that down a bit, like that. You know, at the moment, all we're doing is we're just allowing this to kind of blend in and melt into the sky, get some really soft shapes in the distance, and keep things nice and interesting. Okay, so if you do feel there's an area that's a little bit too blue, just drop in a bit of red in here and dull that down a little. Just move the paper a little bit too, like that. Okay, see how the sky's doing. I think that's going okay. Just wet it down a little bit more and see what else I might be able to pop in there. Maybe some neutral tint. Spread out this cloud just a teeny bit more in here. Some smaller bits of cloud sort of coming off that one. Maybe bits coming into the front of the painting, and maybe a little bit more the darker cloud here on this side, like that. Very, very sort of gentle sort of brush strokes. Okay. You can sort of play around with these other ones a little bit as well, till it's at the point where you're kind of happy with it. Okay. This bit here is just sort of shifted downwards a lot because I've sort of slanted the paper down. It really depends on how you hold the paper. So I've been painting flat for this complete painting so far. So whatever you put down, it tends to float on the surface of that area. So you have a bit more control. So I'm going to go down the page now and start popping in some greens in the lower portions. So let's pop in a little bit of, I've got some sap green here. I've accidentally mixed in a bit of gouache in here, but you can darken that down as well with some of the blue that you've got. So, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. If we leave a little sort of bits of white on here as well, it creates little bits of interest, which I think is really super crucial. So just make sure you have a bit of a play around and leave some of that in as well. With larger paintings, larger landscape paintings, I often use a brush like this sometimes to get in the areas of the foreground, but this is much too large for this piece of paper. Okay, so just moving my way down, you know, I think I'm going to add in a little bit of that warmth as well into the green. Just over here, just some areas where we've got some darker areas of green. I think that would be quite nice. And sort of moving forwards now here, just carrying this downwards like that. As I get further down, I'm also going to just darken the wash. So I'm picking up a bit more neutral tint here, and also a tiny bit of brown. That. There. Pop in a bit of green in this section as well, like that. Fantastic. And what have we got here in the foreground? It's sort of, it almost gets lighter, but I'm gonna actually go dark in this section. And connect that on. This sort of looks like rose coming in like that. There. Pop in a bit more colour in this section, you know, some more blue, especially here. Drop that in like that. Now, remember, all this stuff is still slightly damp, so we have an opportunity to just play around and get the values that we want. Okay, so there we go. I've just got that bottom bit in, and I'm going to do it here for this side as well. So this is just some, basically a little bit of burnt umber and some neutral tint like that. So we've got a bit of this ground in now, and now what I'm going to do is start working a little bit into areas of the background. So for this area here, I might actually grab my flat brush and try to see if I can get in, especially maybe over here, just a darker sort of section that's running in front of that mountain. So quite a dark color like that. Just going to drop in just some color like that. There we go. It is actually spreading a little more than I'd like it to, but we'll have to just deal with that. There's some lifting out work that you can do, but I don't want to get too bogged down with that. I hope it just melts in okay. But we've got some section up the top here essentially where the paint is just melting straight into that wash, that previous area, and implying what I hope to be some trees or some mountains that are a little bit kind of closer. Okay, so a little bit on that side. You know, we can do the same on this side here. There's also bits that are pretty much dried or just slightly damp, and that means that you have a little more control compared to the other side. So if you see how I'm going in here, you definitely have a better sense of control of the colors how much it spreads like that. Even some strange sort of edges like this. Okay, so just let that do its thing. I might just add a few little trees in here and dark spots. I'm going to pick up just some straight neutral tint, drop that in some of this area like that, you know, just to imply some trees, things like that that might be running through. And it's also a good time to start implying some little lines and rows, I suppose, of you know, it's more sort of perspective lines in a sense, for these little rows and things like that, because it's just going to melt in better if we do it this way and look more natural. So that's what I'm doing here, just really suggestive sort of work. And you know, we have some running through that bit of white and thing there. You know, just maybe a larger stroke coming out here into the foreground like that. And you know, maybe a bit sort of going into this section of the painting there. And if you feel like you've got an area that's just kind of needs to be a little bit more damp, just spray down the paper a little like that. It always helps to soften down things. So I'm going to just add another line, another row here, a little bit sort of coming through like that. And another thing you can do, we can start adding this is number 8 round brush, but we can start adding some details of who knows what they are, just little shrubs and things perhaps that are coming through, showing through this area. Not in all places, we need to sort of vary it up. I do tend to get too obsessed with one area and fixate on it too much. So, you know, for instance, I might have another bit of shrub or something like that there, and we could have one here, like that, there. And really just looking for bits and pieces to add in here. Now, a little bonus thing I do is I use a little pocket knife, or you can use a credit card, anything like that, essentially just to scratch out some detail on the bits of grass and that. So I'm going to go show you how I do that. Okay, so I've just got a little pocket knife here, and just go ahead. You've got to sort of do it on areas that are just about dried up. So just sort of damp in some areas. You might miss out a chance on some bits and pieces, but this is essentially what I'm doing, just getting in some small little sort of scratch marks on the paper like that. And it also helps to get in like the trunks of these trees, maybe some trees that we have in the distance like that. You know, which I'll sort of reinforce later. And I'll show you what I mean. I've got like a small round brush or a rigger. Here you can use either of them. Just pick up a bit of that dark paint, maybe with a bit of brown mixed into it, and kind of dry it off on the cloth. And you can go in here and start putting in some trees and things. Tree branches, but don't go overboard. Just a little bit like that goes a long way. Here we go, another one here, like that. Almost connected onto this tree to the side, like that. And we've got another tree here, maybe a bit smaller. We've got a bit indication of a tree here, so this one I might get it going to look a bit softer because it's this area of the sky is still slightly wet. So just some little bits and pieces like that going through. And we've also got another sort of indication of the tree here. It sort of comes out like that. Okay. And it's all about balance. I'm looking at both sides and seeing, okay, we've got all these trees here. Is it kind of too detailed on that side? Do I need to add a bit more over on this side? So that's always a question that I sort of ask myself. So, you know, we've got this tree. We might think about putting in just another, maybe another one here, a smaller one, something like that here. Who knows? And maybe also I was thinking having one that's just a bit closer, somewhere like here. Let's have a look where else to sort of imply this path. So we could have something here as well, too. So we've got sort of this path that's running in like that. So, you know, I've got the round brush, bit of blue paint and a bit of the brown as well. Mix that together and pretty much just go for it. That. Just sort of hope it doesn't get out of hand, you know, but this one needs to be darker at the front. This. So that's a closer sort of tree in the front of the scene there. That's right, just like that. And this can be another something like that. And then we've got bits and pieces here of other, who knows, other trees and stuff in the distance, like that. But really in the foreground, this is all I kind of want to add in. I can add in a bit of additional colour for some of these areas to get in, for example, an indication of like a shrub or something just growing here. Just with a bit of blue like that, and mix that in where we can. What else have we got? Just bits and pieces, suppose, that help to tell a story of what's there, what you want to imply anyway. But I think I'm pretty much done with this one. It's a very short, sharp sort of landscape. Another thing you can do, a final sort of thing, is you can get a bit of tree coming in from the side, like just like this, having a larger sort of branch and getting that coming through the side and blending into the sky and going up like that. Just another little trick that you can do if you want to get in some larger tree shapes in this painting. Notice I'm holding the brush near the ends as well to get more sort of spontaneous branch shapes just coming off. Just looks a lot better this way. And that's all it takes, just a little bit, here and there. So I was thinking what else I need to do. I'm quite happy with how this looks with just a quick little landscape sketch. So, you know, when I can finish it off, you know, add some little birds in the sky as well. So just some tiny indications like that. It's hard to tell which bits are dried and which bits aren't, but I'll say a lot of these areas here are definitely starting to dry off, so you can quite confidently go in. Just draw these, they're almost like little V's in the sky. Some of them are more flat than others, and like that. I'll call that one finished. If you like this video, check out the playlist on the right. I release new tutorials and art supply reviews each week to help you progress faster in your watercolor journey.